Let's talk about this for a second. Back in the, there's a plane. Soon you're not going to hear those. It'll be quiet. You know why? Because there won't be any fuel for them. Won't be any fuel. And it's not because we're running out of fuel in the ground. We're not running out of crude oil. We're not. It's not the oil and gas companies that are running low. It's the Biden administration who is effectively forcing people to starve and freeze to death this year in what was a very short time ago the most glorious country on the face of the planet. But I digress. Let's talk about this for a second. All of this has happened before. In recent history, in history when I was alive, so in around 1971, there was a group that said the world was getting so warm that the glaciers were moving at an alarming rate, and soon the world would be covered with water. We have to do something about it. That's when they banned things like underarm deodorant spray. When they started the catalytic converter on cars, which, by the way, because my dad was in the upholstery business, what catalytic converters do best is when you pull over on the side of the road because you want to check something, or for some reason you pull over, you get pulled over. You've been speeding, you get pulled over on the side of the road, and you pull into, there's that sound again. That's a private airport, by the way. And if the people that cared so much about our global future, ecologically speaking, don't you think maybe they wouldn't be traveling everywhere on private aircraft? Nobody knows who they are. It's not like they're Prince or Elvis or even me. It's not. Nobody has any idea who they are. You can't look at them and go, "Oh my goodness, that's an energy czar. Oh, I want to talk to him. I want his autograph." Doesn't happen. But in the 70s, there were people that said that this had to be fixed. It had to be done. It was not true. It was proved to be not true. There were also people in the early 70s that said we were in the process of having what they called a population explosion. By this time now, we're in 2022, that was 72. By this time, there would be no room left on the planet. Absolutely no room. Everyone would be living. The only possible solution was that everyone would be living in a building. I'm not making this up. 6,000 stories tall, and everyone would have a couple of square yards in this building. That was the only way we were going to thwart, I think is the word, this horrific population explosion that was so obvious. In 1972, they said that big business had polluted the water to such a degree that Lake Erie was dead. Not true. Lake Erie is not dead, still thriving with fish. They also said in 1972 that big business had put so much mercury in the water that mercury poisoning was the single biggest blight that would ever hit mankind, and we simply had to do something about it. Well, guess what? They found out later, shortly later, like 73, that this is just tragic. They had some fish, some tuna, from around 1865 or so, from Lake Erie. No, I'm sorry, not from Lake Erie. If they had some tuna, that was silly, dumb. Tuna, Lake Erie. The mercury levels in the 100-year-old tuna were relatively the same, if not a little bit higher, than the ones in 1972 that they had said something had to be done about. It was terrible. Why am I saying this? When they scare you with notions like this, the only choice we have is to allow programs to be funded so that people can be hired to study these claims. Now, of course, if you're going to start a program to study a claim that you yourself made, you're going to make damn sure that the people you hire to study that claim will substantiate it, not rebut it. Okay? It's the same thing as the doomsdayers. You remember the doomsdayers? I don't even know if we talk about it. The sky is falling. The world is coming to an end. Oh, by 2021 on Wednesday, it's just terrible. It's a big thing. They do that. They do that. It's what they do. I think maybe they believe it. And maybe I can't believe that these people who claim to have our best interest at heart and the world's best interest at heart and believe that there is anything to global warming. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what it's called anymore. It's called climate change. We talk about that in To Die For. You know why it's called climate change? Because it was a joke that it was global warming because it continued to get colder and colder. And I had some people, some good friends of mine, explain to me why when the earth gets so much warmer that the obvious result is that the temperatures go down. Sounds a little like the sky is falling to me. But this whole ramble is for you to consider, whoever you are, whoever you voted for, I don't care. The people who are in charge of our oil and gas being shut down, not our oil and gas people, those are good people. Not our coal people, those are good people. Not our energy sector is full of good people, providing something that we all need. However, the Biden administration does not care at all about your health, about your well-being, about what Thanksgiving just cost you, about the fact that you are sitting in a northern U.S. area right now trying to determine whether or not you should spend $100 on some fuel to get your house warm or some food to get your stomach warm. They don't care. They don't care. Why? Because none of the policies that they are putting into place and enforcing upon us, which is unconstitutional, by the way, none of the results of those policies show up in their living room or on their boiler or on their turkey. These folks haven't gone out and put gas in their own car or diesel in their own bus since they were elected into office, and many of them since before that, because other people did that. People who donated money to their campaign paid for their gas and their fuel and their eggs and their turkey and their hamburgers. So they are clueless as to what our needs, not even talking desires. This is not desires. These are our fundamental needs, and they don't give a rat's ass. I hope you see that. They are starving you for your own good. They are freezing you in the bed where you try to sleep for your own good. Why is it for your own good? Because they say so. Why would they lie? Think about it. Think about it when you put fuel in your car today. Think about it when, if you're in a state where you buy fuel oil. Think about that. Fuel or food? What should I do today? What does my family need more of? And by the way, because prices are going up for everybody, this is not just for you. This is for those. If you work for someone, it's for them too. It's hitting them very, very hard. Now, they've got food, fuel, or fire. And I don't mean light a fire. I mean fire their workforce because they can no longer afford it. Bad times are coming. We're in some not nice times right now, but bad times are coming. And this is not because an asteroid hit the world. This is not because we have depleted our energy, because we have not by any means depleted our energy. We have more oil under our ground in this glorious country than anywhere. But it is the decision for our current administration to systematically starve, freeze, and ultimately kill. That's a result, death, No food, no fuel, no heat. Freeze to death. Death is death. They're doing it on purpose. Why? Here's now what this whole thing was about. I believe they're doing this on purpose because when we get to the point where we need help, when we are about to perish, what are we going to do? We're going to call on them to help us. Once you have opened that door, once you've opened that window and allowed the vampire in, I used to love those movies. Once you invite the vampire in, you cannot get rid of them. So we are being suppressed, we are being starved, we are being frozen to the point where we have no choice but either to die or to ask those we do not like for help. Does that sound familiar? That's what a bully does at school. I was bullied as a child. That's what a bully does. A bully threatens you and makes your life so miserable that eventually you've got to either stand up for yourself and get your butt kicked or subject yourself to the will of the bully. This administration is attempting, very well, by the way, to subject us to the point where we have to ask them for help. We must not do it. Who do we ask? Us. We, the people. Ask us. Join together. Cut firewood if you have to. Figure it out. Don't ask them, because once you let them in, you'll never get rid of them. My opinion, my channel, my page. Have a wonderful rest of 2022. Hang on. It's not going to magically get better. It's only going to get better when we, the people, have said we have had enough. I'm John Schneider. Thanks for being part of the conversation.